Okay, so reading recommendations in the library hall. The library hall is probably the shortest it's been in forever, and that's partly that's almost 100% because of the fact that I'll be out of town next week. Well, coming this Saturday actually. So I wanted to make sure not to put anything for next week, or like last week I was like that was it. Even the week before it was a not a threat. What's the word? It was a gamble. Didn't put the ones that I put in 2 weeks ago. In fact, one of them, the XMen one, I know is going to come in next week, which I'm fine with because number one, it could very well be the same exact book, and that was the wrong one. And two, I'm kind of debating whether or not I just want to skip that one and go right to the one I already have that I know is going to be good because later in Stan Lee's run. So these are the two that I got just from from Rogers themselves, and that's Frostbite, and finally got this one, The Wake. This was one I've been putting off a bunch because I haven't heard the best about it, but Near Mint Condition said it was really, really, really good. You gotta check it out, and he even made his list of top 10 underrated Vertigo books. And yeah, I know that I'd say I don't like listening to his I don't like taking his opinion for granted, but not for granted. I don't like taking his opinion for, to take his opinion seriously. But it's a library book, so I was like, you know what, why not? I mean, I did the same with Ultimates. The only reason why I got that Al Ewing Ultimates book last week, the $44.99 one, is because of his positive review. And, of course, Goodreads. But... And Goodreads, especially for one book that I'll be reviewing, seems to be very good about it. Like, they're very, top of their game. Alright, I'm going to tear this open. They put it way too tight. The, tying. When I tie it up. I know, I said... I'm in that I don't know how to words mode. Yeah, but just 3 of them. Umbrella Academy, Volume 2. It's this size one. It's not the huge-ass, oversized hardcover one. This is a Copperhead, Volume 2. I've got to remember to put in Volume 3 when I'm done with this one. Because I took a break from it when I was... Like, I read this before, but it's got to jog my memory. And then I was like, oh, you know what, I'm going to take a break from it. I don't really feel like reading it again, when, 2 weeks from now, whatever, and then I just completely forgot about it. And this one, which I'm surprised it's still $19.99 with how thick it is, I didn't spend money on it, but still, Hellblazer Bloodlines. It's like 50 noises going on right now. Sound really weird. Alright, yeah, this one's continuing Garth Ennis's run. I think it's all Garth Ennis. Oh, nice. Steve Dillon. Hell yeah. Let's go. But yeah, I was definitely glad to get Hellblazer this week. It's a thick-ass book, and it's going to take me 2 weeks to finish, which is what I have. But yeah, all these I'll be saving for, next week. So, reading recommendations is actually going to be pretty damn short next week. Well, not next... Yeah, actually next week. So you might just get a reading recommendations next week. Although, if I can go, then... Because I don't know, because I know I'm definitely not going to be able to, go early. I mean, I might be able to. My grandmother, the one that takes me, the one that takes me every week, she won't be going up for the whole week. I just found it out today, which is nice. So, maybe I'll go home with her. I don't think I will, but if I do, I'll be able to go to the library with her. So, I don't know. But anyways, on to reading recommendations, which I have written on my phone. Phone is finally, well, not finally, because it was back to normal way before this, but it's officially back to normal. I had a bunch of problems with it, and it was being really weird. Alright, here. DMZ Volume 2, I did like. There was a total waste of the last issue. It was just showing you, like, random news articles, and yeah, the protagonist had written them, but it was just kind of like the main guy had written them, and it was just kind of like, this is a waste. I'm not gonna want to read this. It's gonna go in one ear and out the other, and so I skipped that one. I just read the the little blurbs when he was actually it was the actual story. But other than that, I did like this. Keep stuttering. Other than that, I really did like this this volume, and I will be continuing with this. I will be continuing with the series. It's like, well, Transmetropolitan. It's kind of exactly like that, but the guy is a little bit more normal than the protagonist in Transmetropolitan. Then Flash Volume 3. Yeah, Volume 3. I liked it. Not as good as the first two, at least as good as I remember the first two being. But again, I will still continue with that series. And it's getting me into Flash, like, slowly but surely. I'm almost thinking about getting the Jeff Johns omnibuses for Christmas. But Volume 3 is not coming out until January, and I kind of want to do a one and done type thing. I get all of them at once. But, I was like, you know what? There's so many other omnibuses I want for Christmas, and I know some of them I'm not going to be able to get, so any excuse is a good excuse, not, to dial it down. There's no way I'm getting all the omnibuses I want for Christmas, plus all the trees. But yeah, I did like that Flash Volume 3. Green Lantern, the New Guardians one, had a very, very strong beginning. That first issue is probably, that was, if that was my first Green Lantern book I'd ever read, and I knew nothing about the character, knew nothing about anything, it would have got me into the character. That's how good it was. And I like that it followed Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, and I can totally see why a lot of people like Kyle Rayner as Green Lantern. I think it's if you made a poll between him and Hal Jordan, it would almost be like a landslide. Like, Kyle Rayner would be like a 99%, whatever. That's how much people like him. So it was definitely happy to see that he's the character I'm gonna like it, because I still have the Kyle Rayner books in the 90s to get through. And it's a good thing to know that I'll like that character going forward. Transmetropolitan, like DMZ, I really did like this volume, but it was just it was probably actually one of the better ones, because sometimes they'll have like a very slow issue, and I'll be like, oh, it's really slow, I don't want to continue reading this tomorrow, I kind of want to take a break from it, and that kind of feeling. But there's a lot of fast-paced issues. Some of them took me like 5 minutes to read. One of them was like almost all splash pages. Not splash pages, but they had no dialogue, so it was just, panels without any dialogue. And it took me like 5 minutes to read 2 of them. And usually that happens like once every 2 volumes. So it's definitely a fast-paced book, and it kind of ended on a kind of a cliffhanger. Actually, in 2 ways. And I'm definitely, and I think I'm gonna do for the next 2 volumes is put them both in at the same time, so I get both at the same time. It's 9 and 10, and I'll be done with the series. And unlike Preacher, it's a smaller book, kind of like this. Like, it's only 6 issues for that one. Batwing was probably next to Monstrous. And another one, and Hellboy was probably down was one of the worst ones I've read. Not terrible. It was definitely middle tier. And like I was saying with Goodreads, they definitely had it right the first, and they definitely had it 100% right. I felt the exact same way. It was a 3.5 middle of the road Batman book. And it was not. And I was kind of disappointed to find out when I found this out once I got the book, that it wasn't what's his face. They wasn't the one from Rebirth. Which I know I should have put 2 and 2 together, but in Rebirth, the character is like, oh yeah, I've been Batwing for a long time, and there's a lot of history there, and you can tell that it takes place after a certain Batwing series. And I was like, I don't think there's a Batwing Rebirth series, so I thought it was New 52 where I had to start from. And I think later on in the series, Batwing changes. The Batwing moniker changes. Yeah, middle of the road Batman book. I'm definitely glad I got it from the library, and I will not be continuing the series, even if I wanted to get to that character. It's a shame too, because Judd Winnick writes, and Judd Winnick, he's almost a flawless writer. He knocks it out of the park almost every time. Outcast, huge ass cliffhanger, and I really hope they have Volume 8. I hope they at least have it there, and yeah, I have to wait a little bit because the book just came out, but I wouldn't mind waiting, having to wait. XMen, Volume 7, really damn good. I really love this series, and I really wish I had put both of them at the same time, because I'd be done with it next volume. But now I have to wait till I get back from vacay to read it, and then a little bit after that. I think what I'm gonna do is, the Monday, this coming Monday, I'll start putting them in, so I'll have them for next week. Because I don't think they'd be that fast, and the librarian knows that I'm gonna be out of town, so, because I don't think it'll come in that week, no, I said it weird, that week. Lazarus was kind of I'll be taking a break from that series. It was like a lot of the Lazarus series, for most of the Lazarus series, they'd have like a really slow issue, then it'd pick up after that, and then either have a slower finish or like a slower middle. This one was slower middle, beginning, and end. There was only one or two issues that went by quickly. I think maybe even one. And I was starting to think, like, what exactly is the point of me keeping on reading this? It's not a series I'm like, oh my god, this is the best series ever, gotta read it. No, it's like middle of the road. But a little bit above middle of the road. Like, it's enough to where I want to keep reading, like, where I want to see how it all ends. But if they don't have the next volume, or volume 7, let's say, I'm not going to continue reading the series. And I won't be, like, too distraught over it either. New Avengers Volume 3. It's a pretty good, and it's just Brian Michael Bendis has a tendency to write way too much dialogue, and even here, when it was like golden age of Brian Michael Bendis, he still had a lot of dialogue. And I noticed something that whenever they would have like a splash page or a 2-page spread or anything like that, where they wouldn't have a whole lot of dialogue, he would make up for it in the next few pages and have a huge amount of dialogue, like almost to the point where you couldn't see the characters' faces. That is how much dialogue there was. And the panels bigger, just so they could fit the dialogue and the characters in equally. But other than that, I really did like this series. I like where they're going with Spider-Woman. Like, she's kind of like a very forgettable member of the New Avengers. And in fact, the only reason why I remembered she was in this show, that she was an Avenger was because, I read an old Marvel book, and they were advertising, Spider-Woman's in New Avengers, go read it. And I was like, oh yeah, that's true. So had I not read that comic, I wouldn't have remembered that. But Hellboy, I'm not gonna continue with this series. It's just not my thing. It's very Sandman-y. It's like a lot like with Sandman. It's just not my thing at all. And then finally, Monstrous. The same exact. It's kind of funny that both the same order. But Monstrous, again, like Sandman. And it's funny because at first when I read it, I really liked Monstrous. But then after the third volume, I was like, I'm done with this stupid shit. And then I was gonna give it a second chance, and I was like, oh, okay, that's why I stopped reading it. It's not that great even at the start. It's kind of like, I don't care about anything. And the funniest thing is, I stopped it 100% when it was that Professor Tam thing, which, I don't know where I don't know when I reviewed Monstrous, so I can't say, oh, check out this video, and the link in the description, or whatever. No, I can't. So, basically what it is it's an entire page. Sometimes it's like, this time was mercifully short, but it's like all around, once again, it's like an S of just huge amounts of exposition dump. And it was the utmost laziest way of updating the lore of this series. Like, it's extremely lazy. And it comes from Marjorie Liu, who I have her X-23 run, and she seems to write X-23, but back in the day, how she has she's been treated the wrong way growing up, and now she's gonna go back at these people and whatever. Well, although she did that, and she's gonna fight back with these people finally and get out of that terrible part in her life. And it was very X-23 for me. But when it focuses on the Micah Half-Wolf, yeah, that's the character's name, it's really interesting. But when it starts to get back to the lore, I'm like, nope, I'm done. Now I remember why I didn't like the series. What's really funny though is I liked the first 2 volumes, hence why I got volume 3. But this time I was like, no, I'm done. Alright, that's it. Probably won't get another video until like following week, so. Because I don't like uploads. I'm not like a house tour of the house I get from the wherever we stay up in Monoposaki or anything like that. I'm not gonna go Christmas shopping. Why Christmas? Of everything, why was that the only thing that was in my mind at that point in time? It's kind of weird. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, because I won't do a house tour or anything like that, or show the place or anything like that. It's not to me. I don't think. Not something that would interest me. And I'm doing this like for people that like me, that like comics and stuff. That's why I do it.